Welcome to day 253 of the New Way. Here's another parable that Jesus taught during the last week of his earthly life. It is somewhat like another parable that he had told earlier. We studied that one on day 218. While there are some minor similarities, I believe that Jesus is teaching two entirely different things. Don't confuse the two. I did as a young follower. Then it gets really confusing. In the parable from Luke that we studied earlier, Jesus was talking about the gifts and blessings that he distributes to his followers. The parable that we are looking at today has a completely different meaning and application, so listen carefully. I'll read for you Matthew 25:14 through 30. Again, it will be like a man going on a journey who called his servants and entrusted his wealth to them. To one he gave 5 bags of gold, to another 2 bags, and to another 1 bag, each according to his ability. Then he went on his journey. The man who had received 5 bags of gold went at once and put his money to work and gained 5 bags more. So also the one with 2 bags of gold gained 2 more. But the man who had received 1 bag went off, dug a hole in the ground, and hid his master's money. After a long time, the master of those servants returned and settled accounts with them. The man who had received 5 bags of gold brought the other 5. Master, he said, you entrusted me with 5 bags of gold. See, I have gained 5 more. His master replied, well done, good and faithful servant. You have been faithful with a few things. I will put you in charge of many things. Come and share your master's happiness. The man with 2 bags of gold also came. Master, he said, you entrusted me with 2 bags of gold. See, I have gained 2 more. His master replied, well done, good and faithful servant. You have been faithful with a few things. I will put you in charge of many things. Come and share your master's happiness. Then the man who had received 1 bag of gold came. Master, he said, I knew that you are a hard man, harvesting where you have not sown, and gathering where you have not scattered seed. So I was afraid and went out and hid your gold in the ground. See, here is what belongs to you. His master replied, you wicked, lazy servant. So you knew that I harvest where I have not sown and gather where I have not scattered seed? Well then, you should have put my money on deposit with the bankers, so that when I returned, I would have received it back with interest. So take the bag of gold from him and give it to the one who has 10 bags. For whoever has will be given more, and they will have an abundance. Whoever does not have, even what they have will be taken from them. And throw that worthless servant outside into the darkness, where there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. Let's first get the story of the parable. There was a man going on a journey, and he had 3 servants. He gave each one of them a different amount of gold. Some scholars believe that 1 bag of gold would equal approximately 20 years worth of wages for a typical worker. So Jesus got the crowd's attention immediately. We're talking about lots of money. What determined how much they got? I'll reread Matthew 25:15. To one he gave 5 bags of gold, to another 2 bags, and to another 1 bag, each according to his ability. Then he went on his journey. When he returned, we find that the one with 5 bags had gained 5 more bags, and the master was pleased with him and rewarded him. The man with 2 bags had gained 2 more bags of gold, and the master was pleased and rewarded him. But the master was not pleased with the man who had been given 1 bag, and went out and buried it. So now let's figure this one out. We know that Jesus was the master who was going on a long trip, but what did the gold represent? God's blessings, His provision, the bounty that He pours out on us. Now here's an example of a parable that is often taken out of context. Then it gets very confusing. So let's review. The first parable in this chapter is about both empty and filled people, with the empty people being rejected at the end. The third parable, or story, which we will look at tomorrow, deals with both empty and filled people, with the empty people being rejected at the end. Keeping the parable in context, see if you can figure out who the characters represent and what Jesus is teaching. Think about it, and we'll continue this discussion tomorrow. In his service, Dale.